Hey guys, today I'm going to do the first part of my free-to-play guide. The most common question I see in the Clash Alerts 2 Discord and on my comment section is which heroes should I use, how should I upgrade them, what hero aids, what talents, what glyphs, what Bastion heroes, what equipment. I'm going to go over all of those things today. I created a guide about what I think is the best starting lineup for beginner and newer players, especially free-to-play players. Some of these things take time to get, but I gave you a perfect outline in this video for what to follow. So I hope you guys enjoy. If there's any questions after this guide, feel free to send them down below in the comments. I will answer every single question. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, to do this free-to-play guide, I'm not going to be doing much gameplay. I'm simply going to be showcasing the best setups I think you will need as a free-to-play player to succeed, and I'm going to go over that right now. So obviously the crux of what makes a lineup good are the heroes you select. I'm going to go through the 5 best heroes for beginners, what hero aids you want on those heroes, what hero talents you want, what equipment you want, what glyphs you want, and what Bastion heroes you want to pick. I'm going to go over all of those things, and by the end of this video I think everyone that's new to the game, that doesn't spend money, that's still learning the basics, will have a good understanding of what are the best choices to invest in as a beginner. So starting off, the first hero you want to pick of your 5 hero lineup is going to be Chronokeeper. You guys probably know this, honestly. Chronokeeper is the best damage dealer in the game. It's as simple as that. He really is the best damage dealer in the game. You cast his Divine, he kills heroes, bada bing bada boom. The hero aids I would recommend, by the way, you'll notice for the hero aid section I have 2 selections of 3 heroes. In the first box I have Sapphirex, Thunderwing, and Foxy. In the second box I have 3 different heroes: Bow Ranger, Shooting Star, and Arcane Caster. The reason being is that there's no 3 heroes that are simply the best hero aids for heroes usually. I'm giving you 2 selections to pick from. You can really pick any 3 of these 6 heroes. I'll give you my input on what I think the best 3 are personally, but in truth you can pick whatever you want in those 6 options. If I had to pick personally for hero aids for Chronokeeper as a beginner, I would pick Sapphirex, Foxy, and Shooting Star as my 3. But you can also replace, mix match any of those 3 with Thunderwing, Bow Ranger, and Arcane Caster. I'm just giving you my personal preference. Sapphirex, Foxy, and Shooting Star I think are the best 3. But as you'll soon see, Shooting Star is another hero I recommend, so you might not have the resources to make her a main hero and a hero aid. So I will keep referring back to this point that I'm about to say right now. You want to choose heroes, equipment, etc., keeping in mind the resources you have available. You might not be able to make all of these hero aids. Bow Ranger, for example, Thunderwing are rare heroes to come across. Arcane Caster and Sapphirex, on the other hand, are not. So if you're just starting out, you might want to pick hero aids that you know you can get your hands on. That's what's most important. Hero talents, Blessed Weapons all the way, really no debate there, gives you bonus damage. Equipment, I know this isn't necessarily free to play, but the one tip I can give to a beginner player is to go get your hands on a Spiteful Spear equipment and put it on Chronokeeper. If you can't do that, the next best bet is a Confounding Cane, but really and truthfully these are the 2 best equipments for him, and it really doesn't come close. If you get your hands on a Spiteful Spear and put it on Chronokeeper, it really will transcend your success in the game. Moving forward, his glyphs. I'm only going over free-to-play and beginner glyphs, so only red glyphs and only tier 1 glyphs from the glyph box. You'll see I don't have circle glyphs for him. That's because circle glyphs are defensive glyphs. He doesn't need defensive glyphs necessarily. For damage, in order from left to right are the best options in my opinion. I think attack damage, piercing attack, and hero damage are the 3 best choices. Now, you're going to have more options shown than the amount of slots he can even equip glyphs with. You want to use what you get your hands on. Just because I show you all these options doesn't mean you'll have them on your account. You want to upgrade and use what you find in ancient glyph boxes, what becomes available to you, and work with those. Oh, I see these are off. This should be here. This should be here. Okay. On the right, if you get your hands on a glyph box, tier 1 glyph box, I would pick these 2 glyphs. If I had to pick one over the other, I'd pick the circle one in the bottom left, the egg circle, and then I would get the yellow triangle next. If you get a glyph box, the egg circle is the most important glyph I would go for. It's choice number 1 for me, in my opinion. Next is the yellow triangle. And in ideal case scenario, you get attack damage, red triangle, and yellow triangle on the right here. Same goes with square, by the way. He doesn't really have square glyphs that suit him, so I just did not include any. Alright, hero number 2. I'm going to go with Shooting Star. Shooting Star is super necessary as a beginner player. I highly recommend you get her. Hero aids, I recommend. If I had to pick top 3, I would go Imp. Matter of fact, I would argue Imp is necessary. Super good on her. Next, I would go with Foxy and Bow Ranger. If you can't get your hands on those heroes, you probably can get your hands on Imp, but if you can't get your hands on the other 2, do some mix match of Sapphrix, Nightmare Morpho, Bullhead. Those are all good options as well. Technically, Thunderwing is decent too. Talents, I would also go with Blessed Weapons here. You want her to do more damage, which you will see when I showcase this lineup later in the video. Equipment in order of best to worst. Not that they're worst, but they're the least effective of the top 3 I would pick for her. I would go with Spear. If you can't get Spear, I'd do Tyrant's Brand. If you can't do Tyrant's Brand, I would do Thunderblade. Some notable mentions might be Confounding Cane or Dagger. Maybe even Holy Hammer if you can get it empowered, but these personally are my top 3 choices I would go for. Next, we have Shooting Star glyphs. She's very similar to Chronokeeper. You want her doing damage, so I picked very similar glyphs to Chronokeeper with the exception of the Adept Star glyph. Shooting Star benefits a lot from spamming her skills, so if you can get that glyph, definitely upgrade that and put it on her. The glyphs for the tier 1 glyph box, you'll see there's 2 new glyphs that she has recommended for her that Chronokeeper doesn't. Those are the Rock Note and the Bounty Box Circle. Personally, I wouldn't focus on unique glyphs for her before I focus on Chronokeeper, but if you are at the point in time where you can get your hands on a lot of tier 1 glyphs, I think Bounty Box is really good for bonus damage. Yellow Triangle is amazing on her still, same with Egg Circle. They're all really good. The ones outlined in the red circle are the ones you want to go for. Next we have Penthesilea, arguably the best tank in the game. Highly recommend you include her in your hero lineup. This is hero 3 of our 5 hero lineup here. For hero aids, the first set of hero aids are the hero aids I recommend for free-to-play players because they're easy to get your hands on and they are the most effective in beginner/intermediate level battles. Pangoli, Berserker, and Ravager. I would get your hands on those 3, no questions asked. In the second box, you'll see Animalass, Samurai, and Stormrider. These hero aids only outshine the first box when you are a high-end, top-tier account. If you're not that, and you don't have the option to spend a lot of money and upgrade these hero aids to the maximum level, the first set of hero aids, Pangoli, Berserker, and Ravager, are best. That's good news also because those heroes are very easy to get your hands on. Highly recommend you get those 3 for Penthesilea. For talents, you want Charm Curtain, of course, because that's what makes her the tankiest of any set of talents. I wouldn't really put any other talent on her, personally. For equipment, in order of left to right, in my opinion, are the best set of equipments for her as a free-to-play player. Repulsive Rod, Aegis, Dragonheart, Dagger, hammer, and cloak. If you'll notice, a lot of top players exclusively only use dagger or hammer. Dagger is very hard to get as a free-to-play player. Hammer is only useful, and Dragonheart are only useful if the empowerment of that equipment is level 40, and then that means the empowered skill is maxed out at level 20. If you're not going to empower your equipment, which you likely won't be doing as a free-to-play player, you don't have the empowered skill, which means Hammer and Dragonheart are not very useful, which means Repulsive Rod and Aegis are very useful. Dagger and Cloak are really hard to get your hands on, so don't worry if you can't get them. Try to get a Repulsive Rod or an Aegis. Those are probably your best bet if you're just starting off. Next we have Penthesilea Glyphs. Like I said, she's a tank, so you want glyphs that reduce the damage she receives. In my opinion, these are the best selections for her. Damage reduction glyphs, hero, HP recovery, amplification. Regarding crit, I don't recommend going for crit both defensively or offensively. I don't think it's good as a new player. In fact, I would avoid it. I don't think they're worth investing in glyph-wise, hero aid-wise, etc. The best glyphs for Penthesilea, hands down, are the ones I'm showing right here. The most important ones is the star that reduces her hero skill cooldown, and I would say block attacks, the Pavis circle glyph. However, every single glyph here are the top tier ones. On the right for the tier 1 glyphs, there's a lot to pick from. I know it might seem overwhelming. The most important ones I would pick personally are the purple circle, the academic scroll, the green circle, and the yellow circle, all three of which are in the second row, circled by the red outlines. There are more options you can go for. Those are my top 3 picks within this selection. Actually, matter of fact, I would say also my top pick is the blue triangle, because you'll notice on the left there's no red triangle that is good for her, so you want a triangle to put us in her slot. I would pick the blue triangle first, actually, of any of these glyphs, but aside from that, I would pick in order what I just mentioned previously. Next we have Renee Ven as our 4th hero. She's one of the best heroes in the game. You need Renee Ven to be Divine 5 for her to really shine, but she's still good if you can't get her to that point. I would regardless work up to that with upgrading her. She's very similar to Penthesilea. You want defensive hero aids, you want defensive talents. Same goes, the first 3 selections are the best for the hero aids. Charm Curtain as her hero talent. Equipment, you want a hammer, Aegis, or heart, like I said earlier. And if you watched my equipment tier list video, which I highly recommend checking out, hammer and heart are only effective if they are empowered. If not, they're not effective. In that case, I would put an Aegis on her. But in truth, Renee Ven does not really need equipment if you don't have an empowered hammer. No other equipment really makes her shine. Don't worry about it too much. Just try to get her to Divine 5. In the meantime, until she reaches Divine 5, she's great at reviving heroes with her hero skill. Don't worry about maximizing her too much other than just getting her skill up. That's really all that she's useful for. She doesn't really need to tank much. She doesn't really do much damage. Focus on other heroes like Chronokeeper and Shooting Star and Penthesilea. You really just want her here to revive heroes in case they die. Very similar situation here. She only wants defensive glyphs. However, I wouldn't recommend going for glyphs for her unless you have glyphs on the 3 previous heroes I just mentioned. If you're a free-to-play player, you probably don't. So honestly, I truly mean this, don't worry about glyphs on Renee Ven just yet. However, these are options for you if you are at that point in time. The last hero I recommend for your hero lineup is either Spirit Steward or Glory Priestess. I prefer Spirit Steward as a beginner, newer player, and I recommend you do the same. The reason being is all you have to do to make her effective. She can literally be a level 150 with level 3 Divine, and she's still useful. All you have to do is cast her Divine on your damage dealers. Your damage dealers are Chronokeeper and Shooting Star. You cast your Divine on those 2 heroes. Spirit Steward has done all she's needed to do for the remainder of battle. You don't need her to tank, you don't need her to do damage, all you need to do is cast her Divine once, and she's good to go. That's why I think she's very free to play friendly. You don't need to invest many resources in her. You don't even need many hero aids, talents, or equipment, truthfully. They're just the cherry on top if you're at that point. Same goes with Penthesilea and Renee Ven. You want defensive hero aids, defensive talents, defensive equipment. Hammer is best if it's empowered, like I said. The only way Glory Priestess outshines Spirit Steward is if Glory Priestess has Divine 5, and if you have a fully empowered hammer on her. If not, Spirit Steward is the way to go. Highly recommend you invest in her. You don't need her to be that strong either. Those will be your 5 heroes. I think this 5 set of heroes will last you until the end of time. Truthfully, they are the best 5 heroes I can recommend to a beginner player. Knowing what I know about the game now, I think it's really bulletproof and foolproof. This setup will be really good for you in every single game mode, including defense. Next, we have your offensive Bastion setup. Personally, I don't think you need to worry about this that much. This is more of a high-end player luxury thing to worry about, but if I had to make some advice known, it would be that you want to get maybe 2 or 3 really good offensive Bastion heroes in your Bastion when you're attacking. I picked 3 with a gold outline to suggest my top 3 personal picks. I think those 3 are the strongest choices you can make. However, there are technically 10 heroes for you to pick from here. You really could pick any 5 of these 10, and you will not go wrong. All of them are good in their own way. I think the golded outlined heroes are the best 3 to choose from as a beginner. It's also hard to get your 4th and 5th reserve slot upgraded and available to you as a beginner, so truthfully you really only need to pick 3 heroes here. If you can't get your hands on Bella, Nightmare Morpho and Shadow Beast are also really good, so is Arachne. Everyone is good here. The real issue is you want to make sure you can upgrade them enough to get their Divine to level 5, or at least level 3, and their active skill to at least level 20. If you don't have the resources or glory points to get those heroes maxed, or you can't evolve them to Pisces, you want to pick a hero here that you can do that for. For example, Shadow Beast, Thunderwing, and Bella are really rare as a free-to-play player, so you might stick with more available options like Arachne, Djinni, Enchantress, Ironclad, where you can upgrade them to those numbers. Bastion is not too important to worry about, but it does have a great impact on the strength of your lineup, especially attacking other bases. And if you have the opportunity to work on them, these are my picks for you. Alright guys, I'm briefly going to go over what using this attack lineup looks like, just so you know how to use it in-game when attacking a base. Here is a bot base right here. Obviously this lineup is good in every single game mode, not just attacking bases, but El Dorado, Campaign Clash, Arena. I'm just going to showcase how it looks like from this perspective so you get an idea. I always drop Penthesilea first, and I like to use my Divine on the enemy Bastion. So I'm going to do that. I draw every enemy into the center. I then cast her skill. As you can see, she's very tanky, which is good. I cast her skill and all enemies group to the center. Now you can see the heroes died here because my Penthesilea is too strong, but I'm going to act as if the heroes are still alive. You then want to drop Shooting Star and Chronokeeper together, and not too far away you want to drop Spirit Steward. Can I drop them? And Renee Ven. You then cast your Chronokeeper Divine, Spirit Steward Divine on your Chronokeeper, and then you cast Shooting Star Divine on your Chronokeeper. That gives him invincibility from the Shooting Star, and Spirit Steward makes him do more damage. And then, when you have the opportunity to, you can cast Renee Ven Divine to refresh those, and cast them again. As you can see, everyone's dead, obviously, but from the perspective of a free-to-play player, the battle is probably going to last longer. Also, I forgot to drop my Bastion here, so I'm going to do that in a separate replay. This base is too weak. This is a good choice, so I'm going to drop Penth here, just to show you one more time. Boom. Boom. Everyone's in the center. I'm going to drop my Bastion on the side. When this Bastion gets destroyed, all my heroes will be released. Boom, 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 boom. As you can see, this lineup shreds enemies, and it's so defensively sound as well. Your heroes will have a hard time dying. They might die, but Renee Ven can revive them. Then again, I'm going to cast Shooting Star Divine on Chronokeeper because it makes him invincible. You want him to be invincible so that he can deal damage safely. With the proper glyphs, the proper hero aids, the proper equipment, the proper Bastion heroes, the proper positioning, this lineup is really strong, and I think it's really good for free-to-play players. The only issue is, can you get your hands on the hero resources, hero shards themselves? That really comes down to how much you play the game. Do you complete the game modes, the events? Do you collect enough resources? Do you do your hero hires? Things like that. And eventually down the road you'll be able to get all the resources you need. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sure some of you watching still might have questions. If you comment below, I will answer every single question that's commented in my full capacity with all the wisdom I have. Also, feel free to ask questions in the Clash of Lords 2 Discord. There are other top players and moderators that will be happy to help you as well. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you wanted me to do any certain videos that you would find helpful as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in game.